One of the most powerful lessons I've learned in my business is there are two types of equity you can put in your business. There's sweat equity and cash equity. When my business was failing, I kept putting in sweat equity only. Meaning that I kept thinking if I put more time and more time and more time in, so I thought, okay, I'll work an extra hour in the evening. Okay, I'll work half a day on Sunday. Then I added, I'll work half a day on Saturday. Then I added, I'll work the full day on Saturday. And listen, doing the same thing over and over and just doing more of it. If you look up the definition for insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, yeah, that's insanity. So I was pretty much running my business on insanity. What I had not done is put in cash equity. What I've learned is you've got to invest at the level to which you want to see the return. And because I hadn't invested in my gift, listen, God invests in each of us when we're born. He gives us DNA, distinct natural ability. And all God asks is that we grow it. Well, I hadn't grown it. I hadn't been willing to invest in it. And I surely wasn't clear on how to make my brilliance, really take my brilliance to the bank. So what I did was I invested. I hired a coach. Now listen, that coach cost $30,000. Now I told you I made 13 in my business. I couldn't afford it, but I couldn't afford not to do it. And when I told you earlier in another episode that God showed me, listen, how he showed me was that coach who held a mirror up to me. And she said, and I quote, Nicole, didn't you tell me you're an adjunct professor? You taught at USC for almost 5 years. And then when you moved to Boston, you started teaching at Boston University. And what you teach is program development. Look at my coach knowing me. Yeah, girl. And then she said, and you used to have a consultancy. And you went into businesses. You work with nonprofits. You work with small business owners. You work with heads of state. You've worked with celebrities. And what you've done is you've helped them develop programs. I'm thinking, yeah, look at her doing her homework. The next thing she said didn't just change my business, it changed my life. She said, Nicole, you don't have any programs in your own business. Duh. Listen, if the only way you work in your business, you have to be present, you're already capping off how much money you can make. You're capping off how many people you can work with, and you're capping off how much transformation you can provide. What I quickly began to see in my own brilliance, because that night, actually in that moment, I hung up with my coach, I started working, I developed my first program. I went from, listen, that program, $10,000 in a day. I went from that one program was $10,000. I went from $13,000 to over $200,000 within 6 months in my business, just understanding one principle. You've got to make money in your sleep.